morning, friends. Welcome back to the Little Red Farm Kitchen. I'm Mindy. I am a homesteader for over a decade, and we are making rendered lard today. So if you want to hang out with us, learn how to render lard, or maybe just see a different method than you've done before, come on into the kitchen. Let's get cooking. Like I always say, to make cooking more fun, grab your favorite beverage, turn on some of your favorite music, and let's hang out together. So one, you need to make sure you have lard. Get it from your local farm if you can. That's going to be nice and clean. I don't even ask the butcher to just give me kidney fat or leaf fat. This is from our hogs because we raise them well, because they're healthy animals. I don't have any problems using the fat that they take off other parts of the animal. You can see, normally I have them grind it. So then this is already pre-ground. That makes it faster. This time, whoever did it, they didn't grind it. That's okay. We're going to cut this up. But you need lard, okay? Lard and tallow are different. Lard comes from hogs. Tallow comes from cattle. We're going to do lard. Lard is a softer fat, so it's not going to pop out of a bowl like a tallow would when you wet render that. So I just don't, wet rendering, it's okay, but it's not my favorite. This method that I use, I call it the quick method. You're probably used to hearing me say that by now, but I like things that are easy and simple, and if it can save me time, I'm all for that. Next, let's talk about the tools that you're gonna need to make all this happen. All right, I always use a crock pot for this one. I don't recommend doing it on the stove because depending on how consistent your burner is and things like that, a crock pot is just a lot safer. You are working with fat, so depending on if you have a gas stove or an electric stove, one, it can be messy. Two, it can be flammable if you have a gas stove. And three, this way I can just ignore it all day. You're gonna need a sieve or a strainer just to make sure if there's chunks in it, you're getting any chunks out. You are gonna need glass jars to store it in. I prefer the wide mouth jars. Lard is very scoopable. This makes it easier to scoop it out, or you can slide a spatula right around that inside lip. I got the whole pieces of fat, so I'm also gonna need a cutting board and a good knife so I can cut that up in smaller chunks so it melts a little more evenly and smoothly throughout the process. All right, let's get this done. I'm gonna go ahead, put my crock pot over here. I'll plug her in. She's old, she's missing a handle. Please don't judge her. I did buy a new one. This still has the vent spots and the lid is not like pressure cooker tight, but this still seals way better than the new one. I am gonna put this on high to start out with. I might change it to low. I'm gonna set my jars aside for now as well. And let's just cut this up. So if you do have to cut up your lard, you're just gonna wanna do it maybe an inch chunks. When they grind it, it's ground just like hamburger and it works super well, which that is my favorite. Today, I have this and that's what we're working with. So it's okay if what you're working with isn't like your favorite or your perfect. Usually there is a way to work with it. Also, I'm using sharp knives, so I'm gonna try not to traumatize you. I always tell you guys I'm not allowed to use sharp knives, but I don't know if you can see it. That was a potato peeler the other night. That was a closet door. I bruised like a peach, and so my family tends to be a little protective of me. Thankfully, this is cutting easy, so as long as I don't get grease on the hand that's holding the knife, I think we'll be okay. Once I'm done getting this in the crock pot and getting it going, I am gonna go outside. It is March now here, and I'm gonna use our little flamethrower to burn off some grass and some weeds and a few flower beds that I need to add compost over the top of. Typically, you don't clean out your leaves and stuff for a while because there could be all your beneficial insects. Do you know that there are like 17,000 good insects and less than 1,000 bad insects? We do fly catchers here on our farm because flies are annoying. If you're worried about pests, just make it a good environment for your good insects and they will take care of the bad insects for you. I might be wrong on my numbers. If you're someone who knows those numbers, drop it in the comments and we can all learn. I'm just gonna cut these in about 1-inch pieces as they'll melt. But these big slabs, they would eventually melt down. It's just gonna make the process a lot longer. But look at that beautiful fat. We do raise our own hogs here. We have some piglets in the barn right now. We occasionally sell hogs to other homesteaders. And then we also sell custom pork on our website for those who want to buy half or whole hogs. Or we sell pork by the piece in our farmers market. That is the only thing that you have to have a herd share membership for, is the meat. Because we sell raw milk, the Department of Agriculture here wants us to offer our meat. Just the meat, nothing else in the store, not the milk, not the eggs, nothing else. Just the meat. through a herd share. So it's kind of like Sam's Club or Costco. People just pay a really small fee. They fill out some paperwork, and then that gives them access to our beef and pork that's already processed and packaged in individual cuts. And they can pick out what they want and pay for what they choose when they come. Right, I'm gonna finish this up and we'll throw it in the crock pot. All right, our crock pot is warming up. Because we're not doing a wet render, we're not adding anything else. So just dump her in. Rendering is melting down the solid fat, removing impurities, and then taking away the liquid fat and storing it. It is gonna become solidified again at that point, but then you can use it for cooking, baking, frying, whatever you wanna use it for. Okay, we got the rest of the fat cut up. I am going to leave this on high until I get a nice little liquid going. Depending on how busy I am with other stuff, I might turn it down. But my crock pot's about halfway full. I'm not pushing it down. I'm not adding water. I'm not adding salt. I'm just adding the cut up lard, or if it's ground, I'll usually just put the whole chunk in all by itself. Put your lid on. We're gonna let her go and we'll check back 30 minutes to an hour. It's been about an hour. Let's check this and see what we got. So as you can see, it's getting a little dark over there. It's definitely glossy and sweaty in the middle. I'm gonna go ahead and stir this up so that way it'll help it melt evenly. If you look in the bottom right there, see that beautiful clear liquid? Once we get enough that we can spoon it out, we're gonna start spooning that clear liquid out of the top. And that is the most clean lard, and that's what we're gonna stick in our jars. And then we're gonna let it keep cooking down. There's not enough to start scooping it off yet. So we'll set our timer for about another hour. We'll just keep an eye on it. All right, she's bubbling. So we're definitely going to turn it down to low. The clear liquid right there. Now we can start scooping that off because we really don't want to cook the liquid. We just want to be able to melt that and pull that off. All right, we have our jars. You can use a ladle or a metal measuring cup. And sometimes I'll even line my strainer. So this is going to go ahead and catch any chunks that you pull out of there as well. But look how nice and clear that is. As this goes on, it does kind of toast, roast, cook, whatever you want to call it, the fat. I'm going to fill that up just a tiny bit more. But really, the goal is to get this melted fat off as soon as it's clear and liquidy. Look at it, so pretty. All right, so here's your view from the top. I've been catching pieces in there. I'm just gonna dump them right back in my pot. Throw that paper towel away, align it with a new one, and it really does just help catch those pieces. You can see how beautiful and clear the lard is. Here's the other jar. As it cools, it is gonna get cloudy. That piece had a little bit of meat or skin still on it, but that's okay. Those pieces where there's meat still on the fat, those are gonna crumble and cook to the bottom. So that will also give it a cooked pork flavor, which we don't want. So pulling this clear stuff off the top as it comes is really helping give you a nice clean lard with the least amount of pork flavor. For these jars, I'm definitely gonna wipe the rims. I will let it cool with lids on it and they will seal, but I'm still gonna keep this in the fridge. I feel like it keeps longer and it's not hurting anything sitting at the back of my fridge. So go grab some lids. I do have some more clear in here. I'm gonna get that, but I need another jar. Small mouth jars are definitely a lot harder to get stuff in, but we're gonna be okay. While this was cooking, because I'm an absolute nerd, I had to look up the insect thing. And you guys, there are over 90,000 insects in the United States, and 97% of them are good bugs. They're beneficial bugs. Only 3% are bad bugs. So anyway, these will get cloudy and then go white as they cool. So you can already see kind of at the bottom where it's getting, this one's cloudier than this one because that one was first. And then this one's that much clearer. And then this is what we have left. So I'm gonna leave this on low and let this continue to cook down. So this took me about 2.5 hours to get to this point, but I did start my crock pot on high. So if you want to take more time and not come back to it quite as quickly, you can put it on low and the process will take longer. It has been another 45 minutes. I timed it for you. Aren't you so proud of me? This is where we are at with the lard. I can keep going if I want to, but I've got some other things to get done today, so I might feed that little bit to the chickens or the dogs. Or you could stick this in your cast iron skillets and in the oven and just kind of let it sit in there and turn your oven off and let it cool, and it'll help season your cast iron. But let's go ahead and get the rest out of there. I really would like to see if I can get the rest of this jar filled up, and then that would give me 3 jars, and that'll last me a while. Okay, so here's the tricky part. Oh, that looks perfect. Let's see where we're at. Oh my goodness, look at that. That is perfect. If I wanted to, I could continue cooking this down, and then any little pieces of meat, things like that that aren't meltable fat, that would be your cracklins. And people sometimes let those cook, but for me, it's kind of going to have like a pork rind flavor, and I just want the clear, not porky flavored lard. So I personally tend to not worry about those. I'm just gonna let that continue straining. I am very happy with my 2 jars. And then I'll have these in my fridge and I can use them as I want. I don't have a problem with them going bad in my fridge. And for me personally, it's not a big deal to tuck these in the back. I do not like freezing in jars. I hear way too many stories from customers about their jars breaking when they defrost them. If you have tips or tricks on that, feel free to throw them in the comments for other people. It's just not something that is worth frustration for me personally. As you're cleaning this up, I would recommend using paper towels to get the lard off of things. That way it's not getting washed out of a rag and going down your sink, because it is fat. It is going to solidify. But I would wipe up with paper towel first, throw that in your trash, and then just get a really hot soapy washcloth and wash all this up. I have thrown them in the fridge, both in the state, or chilled. I do tend to let them cool on the counter simply because I have glass shelves in my fridge and I really don't need to break a shelf. That would be very sad. I hope that you enjoyed my quick render lard method. This took me all in all, I think I started around 10 a.m. and it is now 2:15. So about a little over 4 hours, 4 or 5 hours total. And again, if you want to take more time because you have more stuff in your day, just turn this down. Start with it on low. I started with it on high because I have farm store hours this afternoon and I wanted to make sure that I had all this cleaned up before I went out. So when I come in and make dinner tonight, my kitchen's ready to go. All right. Happy lard rendering. We'll see you guys for the next time in the Little Red Farm Kitchen. Oh no, I just touched it with my non-hand. My non-greasy hand. All right, here we go, guys. So you just scoop up, get it right in there. Oh, okay. Should we use that? I don't know.